This is Jamel Gibbs coming at you live with another training video. I'm on my way out to the gym, and before I go out to the gym, I wanted to do a quick video for you guys. So you may see me looking at two different screens. Throw up some hearts on Periscope, throw up some likes on Facebook, and we're gonna have a lot of fun today. I'm gonna go ahead and tell you guys, hey, what's going on? What's going on? Life Quest 53, how's everything today? I'm about to go to the gym and feed these guns in a little bit. And before I actually step out, I wanted to do a quick Periscope and a quick Facebook Live. So I don't want Periscope to show you guys up on Facebook, so I want to see some likes going across that screen there. And on Periscope, I don't want Facebook to show you up, so I want to see some hearts. Keep those hearts coming. I'm loving all the love that I'm receiving right now. But what's going on, guys? What's going on? First time on my feed. I appreciate you joining me. Today, I'm on my way out to the gym. Before I go out to the gym, I wanted to discuss something that I think will help you in your real estate investment business. Now, for those of you who don't know me, some of you have just joined us. I'm Jamel Gibbs, been in the real estate business for 15 years, done hundreds upon hundreds of real estate deals. You name it, I've done it, okay? And I've been training real estate investors now since 2007, and we're in 2017, so that makes it 10 full years that I've been doing this, okay? I'm the owner of Mill Street Properties, LLC, as well as the REI Education Academy. And today, we're going to talk about wholesaling ugly houses versus wholesaling pretty houses, okay? Now, just by a show of hearts and by a show of likes, how many people have wholesaled their first real estate deal? You've wholesaled, I want to see some hearts. If you wholesaled your first real estate deal, okay? I want to see some likes if you've wholesaled your first real estate deal, okay? Now, obviously, there's a lot involved in wholesaling. I'm always here to tell you the truth, okay? It takes work. It's not easy in the very beginning. It becomes easier over time, just like any other business model, okay? So when it comes to wholesaling or building a real estate business in general, a lot of educators will tell you that it's very easy. They will tell you that you don't need a ton of money. They will tell you that, you know, anything to help you get involved in the business. And the reason why they're doing that is because if they tell you how hard it is, you'll never actually give it a shot. So you're not going to help yourself. You're not going to help yourself, okay? But here's the flip side to that. By them telling you that it's easy and that you can make a ton of money doing it, which you can, and that it doesn't require a lot of your own money and effort, by them telling you that, what's actually happening is you're thinking about giving it a shot, and that will allow you to take that step, that necessary step, in order to get the process started. Because if I sit here and tell you all day long that this is the hardest business in the world, which is not, it's the hardest business in the world, you will never give it a try. So how can that actually help you change your life, right? It won't. So as a real estate educator, and what real estate educators do is we basically tell you what you want to hear, but we give you what you need in order to succeed. Does that make sense? So you want to hear one thing, but you really need something else in order to make this thing work. Okay, so that's completely off the cuff of what I wanted to talk about today. But I wanted to be completely transparent on today's video. So back to the it takes massive action. Exactly. It takes massive action. Okay, but along with that massive action, without complaining and without blaming other people, and understanding that you're going to jump over some hurdles, and understanding that you need someone like me, like a mentor, to actually show you I've been there and done it, to skip that learning curve. When you understand these things and you're willing to put that time and effort into this entire business, it gets easier over time. So anything that you start right up front is going to be difficult right up front, right? But at the end of the day, if you stick with it, those who, when I was working down on Wall Street, this was years ago, I was 19 years old. They used to say, they had a brief saying which stuck with me throughout the years. And that brief saying was this: the only difference between me and you is time. That's it. The only difference between you and I is time. So the person who sticks in the longest will get the benefits. They'll reap the benefits in the end. Okay, so if you just stick in there, you hang in there, you educate yourself, you add one thing to your business each and every single day. I don't care if it's one buyer every single day. If you just add that one buyer, or try to add one property to your leads every single day, just add one thing to your business every day. Eventually, that stuff will start to compile and you'll get to where you need to go. Okay, and it gets easier over time. In the very beginning, everything is hard. But when you start adding stuff to your business every single day, guess what happens? Over time, that stuff starts to compile and things just become easier. And before you know it, you'll have deals falling in your lap. Okay, so that's basically how it works. So, back to the moral before I get to the gym and work on these guns. Look at these things. So, I wanted to talk about wholesaling ugly houses versus wholesaling pretty houses. Okay, so when it comes to ugly houses, I like to do both, and I'll explain why in just a minute. When it comes to wholesaling ugly houses, okay, so you have some benefits with it, obviously. Just thinking about some of the benefits of wholesaling ugly houses, you're able to buy these houses with cash, okay. A lot of the times these houses are going to need a ton of work, a lot of equity in these houses, because if they need a lot of work, that means that the owner probably owned the house for a little while, and the house is in a position where it has a ton of equity in it. And because of that equity position, you can pick up these houses at very, very deep discounts. Okay, so let me just give you an example of what I mean by a deep discount. You may be in a position where you have a house, a lead, where the house is worth, let's say, $100,000. Okay, so you have a house that's worth $100,000. Okay, you may be in a position to pick that house up at a deep discount. Let's say the house needs, this $100,000 home needs $20,000 in work. Okay, so you have a $100,000 home that needs $20,000 in work. You negotiate something with the seller, you're able to pick up this house at $30,000. Okay, now you got a $100,000 home, it needs $20,000 in work, and you're buying this house. You contract this house for $30,000. Then you turn around and you say, okay, I don't have the financial means to go ahead and rehab this home. So what I want to do is make some quick money on this house. So what do? You turn around and you find a buyer. You find a buyer and you sell that contract. Keep in mind, you're not selling the house. You're selling the contract on the house for $40,000. So what did you just make? You made $10,000 for selling a piece of paper. Let me recap that example. A $100,000 home, it needs $20,000 in work. You flip the contract, exactly. $100,000 home needs $20,000 in work. You're buying it for $30,000. You flip it for $40,000. Flip the contract for $40,000. You make $10,000 for signing a piece of paper. So that's the wholesaling ugly houses business model. Okay, that's the wholesaling ugly houses business model. Most newbie real estate investors will jump into that type of business. Now, here's the con to that, to only focusing on that type of business. Number one, it takes a ton of work up front in the very beginning if you don't know what you're doing. Okay? Realistically speaking, how often do you find a house for $100,000? I find them every single month. Okay? It's all about marketing. Remembering that you're a marketer first. Okay? I just bought a $150,000 home for $68,000. I bought another $105,000 home for $45,000. It's all about consistency, consistent marketing. That's exactly what it is. Okay? You can find these houses all the time when you know what you're doing. Okay? When you know what you're doing, you will find these houses. And at the end of the day, it's all about marketing. If you're going to spend $200 a month on marketing, you're going to get what you pay for. Okay? When you're willing to take that risk and you're willing to put out, and marketing is a whole nother subject we'll talk about probably in another week. As a matter of fact, let's talk about marketing next week. Okay, we're going to talk about that on the next Facebook Live. I want to go into the pros and cons. Really, there aren't any cons as far as marketing if you know what you're doing. But I want to talk about that in detail on our next Facebook Live. For now, let's continue to focus on the pretty house and ugly house business model, right? So when it comes to the pretty house business, so we've discussed the ugly house business, okay? Most of you guys who are watching this Periscope and this Facebook Live, you're probably focusing on the ugly house business, right? 3 levels: wholesale, flip and sell, flip and hold. Exactly. And I did a detailed video on that. If you look on my Facebook page, I talk about wholesaling, rehabbing, and passive income. Okay? If you look on my Facebook page or you go to reieducationacademy.com, I have a video where I did a Facebook Live and a Periscope Live just like this one, and I was on a whiteboard and we discussed those 3 levels of investing in full detail and how you can make 6 figures a pop doing these types of deals. Okay? So now let's talk about, so we understand the ugly house business model. By a show of hearts and by a show of hands, how many people understand the ugly business model, the ugly house business model? Let me see some hearts. Let me see some likes before we move forward so that we can interact with each other here, okay? So you understand the ugly house business model. All you're doing is flipping a contract, buying deep discounted properties at a fraction of what they're worth, and you're basically flipping the contract, okay? Now, by a show of likes and by a show of hearts, who understands the pretty house business model? The pretty house business model. By a show of hearts and by a show of likes, who understands the pretty house business model? Now, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to move this over a little bit, and I'm going to explain exactly what the pretty house business model entails. And then we're going to talk about the differences between the two, okay? So, when it comes to pretty houses, okay, so some of the things that you can incorporate into your business when it comes to the pretty house business is you have seller financing, you can do land contracts, you can do wraparound mortgages, you can do lease options, and there's a whole slew of other creative real estate investment strategies. And that's really those are the key words, creative real estate investment strategies when it comes to the pretty house business. Some of the benefits of investing using the pretty house business model is the houses obviously can be bought creatively. You don't typically have to do a lot of work on these houses, and they may need work, or sometimes they may not need the amount of work or any work at all. Okay, there's lots of equity in some of these houses, but then you also have houses with virtually no equity. And I'm going to give you 2 examples of how you can do a deal with a ton of equity and a deal without a lot of equity. Okay, so These houses will usually you'll usually make the same type of profit spread on a pretty house as you would on an ugly house. The difference is you can get paid multiple times on one deal. Okay, so how can you get paid multiple times on one deal? Number one, on a pretty house, you get paid up front, you can get paid every month, and you can get paid on the back end when you sell the deal. So for me, I like the ugly house business model, but I'm also, if I were you, I would implement the pretty house business model because it allows you to diversify your business. Okay, so let's talk about an example of a pretty house type of deal. Okay, so let's say you have a house with no mortgage on it. Okay, you found a great lead, decent area, decent school district, and the house doesn't have a mortgage. The owners lived there for 50 years. Okay, older couple, and a guy decides that he just wants to move into a smaller apartment, but he doesn't have a mortgage on his home. Okay, let's say he's asking $100,000 home. Let's say he's for a $100,000 home, he's asking $85,000. So for a $100,000 home, this owner is asking for $85,000. Everybody got that? Show of hearts, show of likes if you've got that. $100,000 home, the asking price is $85,000. Did you get it? Show of hearts, show of likes. Okay, so now, let's say that this house doesn't need any work. The house doesn't need any work. In a pretty house business, what would most real estate investors do in a situation like this? I want you guys to tell me. Okay, so you got a $100,000 home. Asking price is $85,000. The house doesn't need any work. What would most real estate investors do in a situation like this? What would most people do? Just chime in. Okay, so you got a $100,000 home. Asking price is $85,000. The house doesn't need any work. What would most people do? Sell a financing? Okay. What else? What else? What would most ugly house real estate investors do? Wholesale it? How would you wholesale it, Michelle? How would you wholesale it? Think about that. How would you wholesale that house? Okay, doesn't need any work. Retail, you can retail it. Okay, what else? Who else wants to share? Most ugly house, think about what I'm saying here. Most ugly house real estate investors wouldn't know what to do with that type of deal. And that's the God honest truth. That's the honest truth. Okay, most ugly house wholesale real estate investors wouldn't know what to do with that type of deal. They'll see that deal and they'll put it right to the side. Okay? Very true, right, Michelle? So here's the deal, guys. When it comes to that type of deal, okay, there's a couple of things that you can do. Okay? You have a $100,000 home. The owner is asking $85,000. Okay? The owner is asking $85,000. Here's what I would do. I would offer the seller to hold the financing at 100% or something close to 100% of his asking price. Maybe I'll give him $2,500 down at 6% over a 15-year time frame. Okay? Lease option. That's another great option. We'll talk about that in just a moment, Michelle. So think about what I just said. $100,000 home. What I would do is I would offer the seller $2,500 down to hold the mortgage at $85,000 or less the $2,500 at 6% for 15 years. Then how do I make money on it? Okay, I turn around and I go ahead and flip that house for $100,000. Remember, you have a $15,000 profit spread. $85,000 is what you're picking it up for. $100,000 is what it's worth. So you turn around and you offer no bank qualifying for on a seller finance note, okay, on a seller finance note, and you sell that house for $100,000. There's a couple of things that you can do to make some quick money, and I'm going to share it with you in just a moment. What I would do is I would sell it for $100,000 with $5,000 down. Now remember, I put down $2,500. I'm going to sell it with $500 down or even $10,000 down. Okay, so either between 5% and 10% of what I'm asking, I'm going to go ahead and take that money down. So that pays for my $2,500 up front, right? That pays for my $2,500 up front, and it puts anywhere between $2,500 and $7,500 in my pocket, depending on if I get $5,000 or $10,000, right? Then I'm going to go ahead and create a note with my personal buyer now. I'm going to go ahead and create a note with my buyer. Remember, I picked it up for 6% interest. I'm going to go ahead and sell it at 8% interest at $100,000. And I'm not going to take it for 15 years. I'm going to do it for 10 years. So what does that do? It allows me to create some type of spread on a monthly basis. So I get to collect money every month. I get to collect money up front, the $7,500 down. The money every month because I have a shorter term on my loan with my buyer, and I also have a higher interest rate on my loan with my buyer. Okay, so that creates a spread for me, and in addition to that, I'm going to get paid a lot quicker. When I sell the house, I still have 5 years to pay the other loan off. So I'm going to make money on the back end. So what am I doing? I'm paying down my loan much quicker with my seller, and it's creating equity for me much faster than it would for my buyer that I'm putting into the property. Does that make sense? You see how you can get paid multiple times on this thing? Now here's the deal, guys. You don't necessarily have to hold on to the property forever. You can go ahead and create the note on the property and find a note buyer and sell the note, wholesale the note to someone else and create that income right up front. You can even sell a partial note. You can sell a partial note and still collect money on a monthly basis if you can find the right buyer who's willing to buy part of your note. So they'll give you some money for part of your note, and then you still own the other part of your note. Okay? You can't do this multiple times. Would have to put new buyers through underwriting. You don't necessarily have to put any buyers through underwriting because you are the bank. There's no bank qualifying. There's no underwriting involved. You're the underwriter. You understand how this works? So, are you pre-qualifying your buyer so you know he can pay the mortgage? I absolutely am. I'm pre-qualifying. Great question, Donna. Pre-qualifying my buyer, make sure they have some funds, make sure they have a good job, make sure that they can actually make the monthly payment, okay? And there's a bunch of documents that we have to sign in order to make sure that this is a qualified buyer. The point is, you don't necessarily have to focus directly on wholesaling ugly houses as opposed to wholesaling pretty houses. You need to implement all of these strategies into your business in order to diversify your investing so that you won't get caught out there like I did 10 years ago when I was only rehabbing homes and I wasn't implementing any other strategies, and then my business flopped. Okay? So I'm telling you this because I've been there, I've done it, and I want to save you a headache moving forward. Now we're heading into a market where wholesaling or just getting involved in creative real estate investing in general will behoove you to be in the know on how to utilize all three of these strategies: wholesaling, rehabbing, creative real estate investing. It will behoove you, trust me, to know how to utilize all of these strategies because we're heading into a market where things are going to change very rapidly. And at the end of the day, if you're not collecting passive income, or if you're focusing on one investment strategy, remember, history repeats itself. We're in a seller's market right now. We're getting historically high numbers for our properties. I know this because I'm a rehabber. I'm getting ridiculous amounts of money for some of these houses that we're rehabbing, which tells me that we're in a seller's market. And at the end of the day, what goes up must come down eventually. Okay, so you got to know how to play the market, guys. Okay, so using these three strategies, wholesaling houses, rehabbing, and creative real estate investing, focusing on wholesaling ugly houses and pretty houses as well, will allow you to invest in any market. And all you do is wash, you rinse, and repeat. I love that. I love that. Wash, rinse, and repeat. Repeat the same thing over and over and over again. You get to play the market, and you'll basically have a foolproof business model. Now, let me ask you guys a question real quick before I head out to the gym. I want to ask you guys a question. How many people would like some type of agreement or affidavit that will allow you to take advantage of any deal and protect your deal so that you wouldn't have to worry about someone stealing that deal from you? How many people would actually like that? I want to see a bunch of hearts and a bunch of likes before I tell you where to go in order to get this affidavit for free. I'm gonna give it to you. I want to see a bunch of hearts. I want to see a bunch of likes. I'm not going to give it to you if I don't see a bunch of hearts and a bunch of likes. So how many people would like this affidavit, which will allow you to protect your deal, and we're going to give it to you for free, okay? Well, there is an exception. You're going to have to give up your email address in order to get it, okay? But you will get it in the mail, okay? Now, I have a really good friend who specializes in the pretty house business, just like I do. But he uses this affidavit that I started incorporating into my own personal business. And I told him, look, I got to share this with my peeps. I got to share this with everyone so that they can take advantage of this, because this thing is like genius. Okay, so if you want it, you got to go to, write this down. Okay, guys, REI educationacademy.com/affidavit. REIeducationacademy.com. REIeducationacademy.com/affidavit, and just enter your email, and you're going to be able to get access to this affidavit, which will allow you to protect yourself on any deal that you do. And I'll probably add the link somewhere below this video or above the video or something like that when I repost this video. So by a show of hearts and a show of likes, how did you guys like today's content? Did you enjoy it? Show of hearts, show of likes, give me some love. Let me know that you're alive. And I appreciate the love on Facebook. I appreciate the love on Periscope. And next week, let's plan on talking about marketing, okay? Because I feel like marketing is one of the key motivators. You got it. REI Education Academy, REIeducationacademy.com/affidavit. Academy, just add academy at the end of REI Education. REIeducationacademy.com/affidavit. Okay? So listen, guys, next week, let's plan on talking about marketing. Okay? A lot of people get started in marketing. They're not aggressive enough, and they wonder why they're not getting the leads that they need in order to do enough deals in order to change their financial future. So I want to talk about marketing, and I'm going to be very real with you guys, because at the end of the day, most people think they can spend $100 a month on marketing and make a difference in their lives. Okay, that's not the case. I appreciate that, Michelle. REIeducationacademy.com/affidavit. You got it. At the end of the day, most people don't do enough in marketing, and that's what's holding them back from changing their lives. Think about it like this. Would you spend $5,000 a month in order to make $25,000 to $30,000 a month? Think about that. Or would you spend $100 a month to make $500 a month? What do you want to do? Okay, so we're going to talk about that, and I'm going to go into a little bit of detail. And I'm also going to give you something next week as well. I'm going to give you a marketing piece that consistently works well for me, and it works for my students, and it allows us to get as many deals as we want on a monthly basis. I appreciate you guys very much. I'm on my way to the gym. I'm going to go hit legs today. And yesterday I did chest and triceps. So you can see my tries are a little swollen today. I feel good. I love the gym. I go 6 days a week. But listen, guys, I'm on my way out to the gym. I'm going to go kill my legs right now. And I appreciate you guys very much for joining me on these REI Education Academy sessions. I hope you benefit from them. Share these videos with all your friends that you feel can benefit from them as well. And we're going to have another discussion in about a week from now. I appreciate you guys very much. Talk to you later. Take care.